Welcome back. Today we're doing a product review on the 15-foot MDX 100 gun. And I'm doing a project to eliminate some welding frustration. It's MDX day on Real Garage. Or should I say MD Excellent. You might not know it, but there's now a 15-foot MDX 100 option. I've been covertly testing it the last few months, even on some of my videos. And can definitely say it's been a welcome addition to my machine, which came stock with a 10-foot gun. And that means I can park my machine in one spot and jump all around this car without having to drag a machine around with me. Here are some of the things I love about the MDX series guns. The handle is small and comfortable to hold. The strain reliefs are heavy-duty springs on a swivel mount. Not just an extra piece of rubber or nothing at all like this model. The trigger is actually a real switch. Not just a couple spring blades squeezing together. The Easy Feed liner is a unique design coil with a smoother, wider surface area than a traditional monocoil liner. The liner slides in from the front of the gun instead of the rear like other guns. This means it's easier to replace because you trim the liner after you push it all the way through to the back of the power pin, instead of guessing where to trim it to fit properly into the gas diffuser. The contact tip is now in perfect alignment with the liner. This reduces drag and wire shaving at the tip, enhancing feedability. Unlike the standard configuration here, where the liner just floats inside the diffuser. No way this aligns properly with the contact tip. All right, now the things I don't like about the MDX. Okay, it's really not anything, except maybe because the gun is so long, cable management and storage is now a little bit more involved. Especially if you're trying to not wind the gun up so tight, which would be bad. And because I'm further away from the machine now, I don't have that built-in bottle storage. So I'm challenged on where to lay the gun without it falling off something and being out of reach when I need it the most. Well, I'm getting ready to fix that problem right now. So obviously, my frustration is a lot of times there's nowhere to place or hang the MIG gun during my weld sequences. And no matter where I place or hang it, it ends up sliding away or falling off. And there I sit, holding parts and no MIG gun. Unfortunately, there's very little aftermarket solutions for this. So you know me, I gotta make my own. Today we're gonna make two designs for a gun hanger. One with a round hook and one with a flat style. All these parts you can source locally or from online stores like Amazon. We'll do the round hook style first. I bought some 1/4-inch aluminum round stock and some 1x1 by 1/8 inch aluminum angle from Home Depot. 1/16 would probably work fine too, but I lean towards the thicker material for ease of welding. Take a piece of the 1x1 angle and cut it to 1 5/8 inches. Okay, on the inside of the angle, mark 7/16 from the inside edge, from the inside corner. What we're gonna do here is just trim cut this bottom edge off. I'm cutting right along the edge of the line. That makes sure that I have exactly 7/16. And make sure you deburr all your cut edges. On the short side, we're making two mounting holes 1 1/8 inches apart, center to center. 3/16 of an inch from the top edge, and 1/4 inch from either side. Which, if you cut everything correctly, gives you 1/4 inch to the bottom edge. It cannot be less than 3/16 to the top side or it won't attach properly to the gun. Mark, punch, and drill with a number 26 or a .147 drill bit. A 9/64 bit might work also, but it would be tight. This is where I also like to use a smaller pilot bit. Make sure you deburr your holes. Cut a 3 5/8 inch piece off the 1/4 inch round and radius form one end. I made this little form out of a 3 inch long piece of 3/4 inch by 1/8 inch weld tubing and an 1 7/8 long by 1.5 by 1/8 inch thick flat stock steel, which I TIG welded to one side. This way I can clamp it in my vise along with whatever bar stock to hammer form it around the tubing. So this is kind of what we're shooting for. So let's talk about aluminum alloys for this. A lot of extruded aluminum parts are made from 6061 and 6063 alloys. Now you might think that the 6063 alloy is stronger, but it's not. 6061 is actually stronger, but it doesn't like to be bent or formed without cracking. Here's a sample piece of each alloy being formed. Notice the 6061 cracked at a much lower angle. 6063 is going to be the better alloy for precision extrusions. And I already did the hard work for you and verified that most of the product in Home Depot and Lowe's is the 6063. If you ever have any question about it though, you can always look at the end of the piece. 6063 will have sharper corner bends, and 6061 will usually have a radius. The round stock, however, is going to be a little harder to identify by just looking at it, and you'll have to verify the alloy with the manufacturer. Now I need to make 2 standoff mounts to secure the bracket to the gun handle. So I got these standoff spacers from Amazon. They're 6mm OD, 4mm ID, and they're 20mm long, which if you're keeping score at home is 787 thousandths of an inch, which is long enough to make 2 spacers 7mm long, or 0.275 inches. Okay, you're going to need 2 7/8 long 632 size socket head cap screws to mount the bracket to the gun handle. Before I decided on this design, I dissected one of these guns to make sure I just wasn't securing this into plastic. I happily discovered there's brass inserts, which will be plenty strong enough. Now we can determine where to weld our hook. I'm just going to center it on the gooseneck. Warning: read and follow all labels and your owner's manuals. Grind a little flat spot along the bottom of the hook and weld to the bracket. I'm using 332 size 53/56 filler metal, and I have the Multimatic 220 AC/DC set for TIG AC, 160 amps, which I'm managing with the wireless foot control, 130 for frequency, and 73 on balance. For the flat version, cut a piece of the 1x1 angle to 3 3/4 inches. The mounting base dimensions will be the same as the flat hook design, except it'll have a 2 1/8 inch long by 7/16 wide flat strip. For that flat strip to be centered in the middle of the gun, it needs to be located 1/8 of an inch from the top edge. Round off the tip of the strip. and any rough edges. Same as the round hook, bend the flat strip around the form. Let's test them out. Yeah, that's cool. Well, they obviously work. I'm not quite sure which one I like the best yet, so for now, I'm putting one on the Multimatic 220 and the other on my Millermatic 142. Next time on Real Garage, I'm finishing up my rear end project. I promise.